are diving into microplastics and whether or not they're in your body right now and what that even actually means. Welcome back to the Fountain of Youth. Welcome back to the Live Vibrant podcast YouTube channel. My name is Joshua Haag. I am your host. I am your sleep sensei, and I am here giving you little tidbits each and every day in our 10-minute coaching segment. And so something that's come up a lot with my nutritional coaching across the board is microplastics. What are they? How do we get them in our body? Are they good for us? Are they not? All that good stuff. And what I wanted to do today is kind of rip apart what microplastics are and how you can best kind of move through the world, hopefully getting as many out of your diet and intake as possible, and long-term wise, kind of fine-tuning your lifestyle, right? So without further ado, let's share some screen. All right, so microplastics are inside of your body right now. Here's what that actually means. And I'm going to coin a little quote here. I am not here to make you afraid of your water, right? Fear is not a sustainable health strategy, but you deserve the honest truth. Microplastics are found in human blood, lungs, the brain tissue, heart, liver, testicles, ovarian follicles. We find it in breast milk. We find it in newborn babies. And when we really dove into peer-reviewed sciences, articles and research, it's kind of crazy. And these are not headlines. This is just the data that you're getting, right? We looked at the 2026 Global Wellness Summit, right? And they officially flagged microplastics as a defining health issue, right? And the question is not whether or not you have them in your body. Let's be honest, right? Because you do. The question is, what can you do about it, right? So where do they come from and how do they get in your body? So microplastics are particles, and we consider them smaller than 5 millimeters, right? And this is from breakdown of larger plastic products. Something as simple as a plastic water bottle, right? Nanoplastics are now measured in nanometers. And these are small enough to cross a cell membrane and the blood-brain barrier. And the average adult consumes several thousand to tens of thousands of these particulates. And this is per week through food, water, and air, right? So we're thinking measurable concentrations found in virtually every piece of tissue, and it comes from almost every source, right? So I asked when I did my research what the top sources are, right? And we're looking at heating food in plastic containers, bottled water, often kept in heated areas like cars and things like that. Tap water is a red flag. Indoor air and dust, it's carried around us, right? All the way down to plastic tea bags, right? And single-use coffee cups. These are all different contributors to the microplastic source, right? And so when we think about what these microplastics are doing to the body, we really want to dive into the endocrine disruption. That's our first step here, right? This is the hormonal impact. And this is the mechanism that matters most, especially after 35 for you, right? So what we see is higher plastic chemical exposure happening, which suppresses our sex hormones, especially testosterone, right? This is in men. We see reduced sperm count, motility, and morphology, right? So your reproductive impact is well documented, diminished. We see elevated cortisol, right, from plastic exposure and from chemical compounds. And we see that thyroid hormone production slows drastically, right? When we look at women, we're thinking disrupted estrogen signals, impaired ovarian function, again, thyroid disruption, and insulin sensitivity becomes impaired. Now, we see a little bit more of an insulin sensitivity problem in women than men, but it happens in both for sure. When we look at chronic inflammation, right, we think plastic particles are entering the tissue. The immune system is now responding and generating this inflammatory response. It is doing the right thing, but the problem is it's never not happening, right? It's always firing off on you, okay? And so when this exposure continues long term, right, and i.e. everyday life, we start to get acute inflammation becoming chronic. We see inflammatory load happening on top of other biological stressors, right? So this makes recovery slower and body composition gets much harder to improve. And we see all other controllable inflammation sources, right, make the microplastic burden more manageable. With the studies of gut microbiome, right? So these microplastics are in our gut microbiome. We see early research showing that the bacteria composition and diversity within the gut changes. We see an increase in intestinal permeability, meaning holes and leakage basically through the gut wall. We see disruption in the gut brain axis, right? That connection. And we see over 90% of serotonin being made in the gut. But then because that gut is impaired, right? Our sleep versus melatonin pathway kind of gets all screwed up. We see major disease categories get linked to chronic microplastic driven inflammation. There's 5 of them. I wanted to make sure I quoted and showed you the research behind this because a lot of people think microplastics are a little bit like woo woo, right? But it's a real problem that we're facing, and a lot of people aren't thinking about. It's becoming a more common topic in terms of research, but it is not necessarily openly talked about yet. I wanted to change that script. We see things from arterial plaque in the heart. We see airborne inhalation, so that's getting after your lungs. Exposure begins at birth when we think about breast milk and newborn meconium. Um, so let's discuss how to meaningfully reduce your microplastic load. First things first, filter your water. I have a reverse osmosis machine and I will never go back. It is life changing, right? Stop heating your food in plastic containers. Stop drinking out of plastic bottles, and even more so, warm plastic bottles. All in all, realistically, stop buying bottled water, right? When you think about lower effort improvements, just things that you can kind of knock out of the park really quickly, we want to think about like using microfiber catching bags, right? When washing synthetic athletic wear, you just throw them into the laundry, super easy. Think about opening your windows when you're vacuuming, right? Replace plastic wrap with maybe aluminum foil. You don't have to go way over the top, but there are very small changes that you can make that will drastically change the load that you're taking in within the body, right? You can choose to filter outside of the body or you can choose to filter within the body, right? Um, it's your choice which you're going to go with. And your body has clearance systems. There are ways that it detoxifies, right? When it's sleep, we look at the lymphatic flush. This happens during NREM sleep, right? Um, There's hydration, obviously flushing through the kidneys. We see dietary fiber helping with gut, right? That gut biome. Just basic resistance training, right? And helps with lymphatic flush. You can also do like lymphatic drainage. That really works as well. Um, Last but not least, right? You can just reduce the total load coming in. So by pairing basic things like hydration, focused on good REM sleep, thinking about dietary fiber through the gut, on top of cutting out our water bottles, cutting out heating in plastic containers, cutting out maybe vacuuming with the windows down, we can slowly start to shift the story and allow our body time to actually process and get rid of a lot of this stuff, right? Our brain flushes primarily at night. Let's talk about quick what the lymphatic system is, right? This is a network of channels surrounding the brain blood vessels, right? It acts as a dedicated waste clearance system for your brain. This is going to help flush cerebral spinal fluid, right? It's going to clear nanoplastics. This is almost exclusively active during slow wave, deep and REM, right? Sleep, not light sleep. So you must be getting deep. This operates at very low efficiency during wakefulness. So for this to work, sleep is not an option. Okay. A big set of disruptors: warm room, inconsistent sleep timing, and alcohol before bed. These are massive. Elevated cortisol as well, but I would rank the other 3 kind of above that cortisol, right? So think about kind of what your bedtime routine looks like, and we have hounded that home to you each and every day, but really think about how you are kind of stepping into your bedtime, what that's going to look like, and how to optimize it, right? Your microplastic protection plan. I thought that was a pretty fun one when I was putting it in here to build this. What I want you to do is think of it in 2 parts: one to support your body, one to reduce your exposure, right? So when we think about reducing our exposure, we're thinking water filter, we talk about the containers, we talk about vacuuming with the windows open, buying single plastic bottles, like single use plastic bottles. That's all exposure. So let's cut out as much of that as we can. And I gave you right here, bang, if you can do this, this is a huge benefit. This is a huge step forward. When we think about protecting our body, that's where we come into the deep sleep. We're protecting the room temperature. We're getting fiber. We're doing resistance training. Now, all of a sudden, you have a nice little plan put in place. And what's funny is they all kind of start to stem together. Get a proper bedtime within a 15-minute window cycle. get your fiber. That's nutritional coaching. That also helps with your protein intake, right? That helps with gut health, gut biome. You want to talk about brain fog. Hydration helps with all of it as well. So it's one of those things that over time, I hope you're seeing that some of the coaching kind of blends together, right? Remember that our sleep is our primary detox tool. You should be supplementing. You should be thinking about all these things. You should be having your bedtime routine. You should be thinking about what you're doing when you wake up. All of that is really important. I always put this here. This is one of my big tool slides because let's face it, I built Vibrant Sleep to help those who have trouble with the neurological, the nutrient side of their downregulation at night. Just know, think about your circadian rhythm, think about something to help reduce stress, and think about something for neurotransmitter support. I'm not going to go dive too deep in this today, but read it, think about it. If you want some vibrant sleep, our website has it ready for you. Remember, you can't control everything. Okay. You are not going to be able to control the cars around you and going into work and what you're touching every day, all day. But you can control a couple really, really key pieces. And I listed them right here in this action list, right? Your intake of water, how you're heating up food, thinking about how you're kicking up dust and breathing in your house. It's simple yet effective. We have the Fountain of Youth, right? School.com/the Fountain of Youth. It is a free training academy that's for you. We also have the Live Vibrant podcast on all major podcast platforms. I have a sleep academy out there if you want to rerun or rebuild your sleep. All of this is free information in which I am building a content library for you to have trusted resources and trusted information to finally start to change your life. Think of it like a library of fitness. Last but not least, like I said, should you want a little bit of extra help with sleep, should you want some supplementation, Vibrant Sleep, it's on our website. We have some in stock. Rock and roll. And until next time, make sure you check us out, and we'll see you in the next video.